Hello. So this is an update on part 1 of this little video series. Basically, I had an experiment. The experiment was, what is the effect of pain? What is the effect of spirituality on pain? Specifically, what I'm really curious in is, can you use spirituality in order to reduce literal physical pain? And the answer seems to be yes. And of course, I said in the last video, you can't really directly prove this. I mean, you probably could with a uh, like good enough research study, but I can directly prove it to another human aside from just giving my anecdote, giving my words. And I will say yes, absolutely works. So, in the last video, I said I was going to the dentist, I was having some extremely painful work done. I did that. I went to the dentist, I had some extremely painful work done. And I could compare it because in the past, years ago, I had some very extremely work done on my teeth. And specifically, what I had done this time is exactly the same as last time. But last time, it was horrible. It was bad. It was so painful. I cried so much. I was also very young. So, what they do last time and this time is they have to stick me with a needle multiple times in various places in the mouth. The one over here wasn't as bad because they had to stick me only right about here. Whereas this one was very bad because they have to stick you almost in the bone or something. I don't know why they have to go so deep, but they had to go really deep over here in order to numb you, and it hurts so bad. It is so bad. But so I went into it and it was I'm going to use spirituality in order to see its effect on this. Okay, will it be less painful, less intense? Will it be easier? With spirituality on the mind compared to the previous time. So let me run you through what I mean when I specifically say spirituality, because that can mean a lot of things. So I'm going to try to recollect what that means to me. And I'm not going to try to recollect in a general sense. I'm not going to try to recollect in some other sense. I'm going to try to remember exactly what that experience was like for me in the moment of going through that pain, getting the needles in my mouth. So, basically, what that algorithm looks like for me is I was sitting there in the chair. I told them if I was mentally prepared, I'll do better. So they prepared me. They told me exactly when they were going to stick the needle in me, however many times it took. And they did. They told me beforehand. So what I did was, it's almost like I pulled my identity. So I pulled what I identify with and identified with, some people call it the divine, some people call it God. My definitions are a little bit weird, but I identified with the thing that is everything and nothing. So, for example, what I mean by that is, if you close your eyes and you try to figure out, who am I? What am I? Well, everything changes. Your thoughts change, your mind changes, your emotions change, your body changes in every way. But what doesn't change is you always observe all of that. The observer is always observing, except for when you go to sleep. And I do think the observer changes too, but that's kind of where my limits are at. I'm starting to understand that a little bit more, but that's going to be a whole nother video, and I have a lot of misunderstanding there. But your you can identify with that thing that observes. Maybe you can identify with something greater, I don't know, but it's very useful, and you can identify with that thing that observes. And so I did that. I identified with that, and it took me away from being this body that's getting stabbed inside the mouth in a very fragile part of the body. It took me away from the pain. But don't get me wrong, I felt it. It was painful. It was I almost started to cry. I was like literally not just like a tear down the face, but it was like like not exactly like that. It was like that 'cause I had things in my mouth, so I couldn't necessarily like bob my head, but it was painful. I felt the pain. It hurt like crazy, but it was much easier when I was not identifying with the body. I was just observing it from the limits of what I have to observe, and it helped. So I feel like there's more to it than just that, but I might discuss that another time. Like, I don't know, I feel like I want to talk about the limits of like pain. So I kind of want to talk about the limits of the mind, the limits of the body, the limits of spirituality. Are there limits? The limits of what I know, because there's a lot of this stuff that I literally don't even know. But it seems like a lot of it has to do with what you become. So, did you become your body that's feeling that pain? That if you did, in that moment of getting the needle in your mouth, it's probably going to hurt a lot more. Or did you become the observer that is observing that happen, but isn't that thing that's happening? And that's a very core concept in my life right now. I don't know how to word it in another way. Usually I can word things in multiple ways so you can understand it from different perspectives, but I'm just getting into this, so I just wanted to cover that. This is part 2. I had the painful stuff done. Spirituality helps with pain. I absolutely think so. I think it can help even more than I know, but I have limits at this point. I mean, I always will have limits, but I will be growing, and those limits will change. But yeah, that was my experience. I hope someone gets something from this video, and I hope you have a fantastic day. See you next time.